Sudden cardiac arrest can happen to anyone, anywhere, and sadly, it's almost always fatal. But efforts are underway around the state and here in Coon Rapids to change that by making AEDs, or automated external defibrillators, more accessible in the community. Now the Coon Rapids Police Department has an AED in all 20 of its squad cars, a life-saving tool, and it's already been put to use.
Analyzing now. Stand clear.
I'm here now with Kevin Smith with the Coon Rapids Police Department. Kevin, tell us why it was important for the department to purchase automatic external defibrillators.
Yeah, we call them AEDs. We put them in our squad cars. The main reason for the purchase of these was that our police officers arrive at emergency scenes more quickly than any other EMS personnel. Usually before the fire department and the ambulance, because we're out there and we're patrolling all the time. Sure. Our cars are close. So we keep them in the cars. Minutes count with AEDs, they really do. If somebody's having a cardiac arrest, the most important thing we can do as quickly as possible is get this on a person. So now we have them in our squad cars because we're the first ones there. We get there quickly, and again, minutes make a big difference with these things.
How often do you see cases of sudden cardiac arrest in the community where you would need this piece of equipment?
Well, it really varies. I mean, it depends on, all different things. Of course, the health of the community. Our community is getting a little bit older in Coon Rapids, so we're using them a little bit more often. And because of this, they're getting used, and I expect they'll probably be used a couple dozen times a year. It really depends on how quickly we can get there.
But as you said, minutes make a big difference, and if you can save lives, it's well worth having this in the vehicle.
Well, cardiac arrests happen everywhere, but mostly they happen in your house. We have a big bedroom community here, and we have a lot of apartments, a lot of senior housing. So as quickly as we can get there, minutes make a big difference.
How about using this? Did officers have to be trained? How easy is it to use a piece of equipment like this?
Very easy, and that's the good thing. You can see these AEDs everywhere. In our community, we're going a little bit more heart healthy. So you'll see them inside businesses, you'll see them inside hospitals, inside apartment complexes, in the lobbies. They're going to be everywhere because they're just so easy to use. We do first aid training every couple of years. We have to get certified in all types of first aid equipment, and this has become part of our regiment now. It's simple to be trained in and really simple to use. You'll see a little bit later as one of our paramedic officers is going to be demonstrating just how easy these things are to use.
We're now going to take a look at how the AEDs actually work, and I'm joined by Dan Freiberg, who's actually a Coon Rapids police officer and a paramedic. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Explain to us a little bit from your perspective of how vital this piece of equipment is, particularly when minutes matter in the case of a sudden cardiac arrest.
Sure. And when we talk about AEDs, we're talking about the chain of survival, and we talk about early response, early CPR, early defibrillation, early advanced care. Basically what it comes down to is patients that have that sudden cardiac arrest are in an abnormal rhythm, and it's called ventricular fibrillation. It's a chaotic rhythm within the heart, and treatment for that is using that defibrillator to shock that electrical activity in the heart back into rhythm so that that blood flow gets back to the human body and people start coming back to consciousness.
So you as an officer would have this in your vehicle. If you saw someone in sudden cardiac arrest, you can immediately assess that and help them right away.
Absolutely, yeah. And basically it would be easy to do. You would grab it out of our vehicle, or we would grab it out of the vehicle. You would open it up, you would turn the AED on. The AED will talk to you immediately. And it also, so basically what it'll do is it'll tell you to open up the package. It will tell you to connect the package or the pads to the patient. And on the pads themselves, as you can see, the pads show you where to apply the pads to the patient. So basically this one says to apply this one to this area of the chest or the body.
Electrodes.
And this one tells you to apply it to the upper right side of the chest on the patient.
Check connector and electrodes.
Once you've had the pads placed, then this will do its analyzation, and it would go through its cycle, and basically it would tell you to clear and shock the patient if the patient had a shockable rhythm.
Once you get to a scene and you assess if someone needs to be shocked with the AED, how long does it take you to set this all up and prepare?
Relatively quickly. I mean, basically you have that bystander, whoever's there with you, continue CPR and keeping that chain of survival going. And you're going to open it up. It's going to be all connected. You turn it on. If the patient has a shirt on, or if they have medical patches or something that you're able to work with, basically you just have to cut the shirt off or place the pad around the items that are there, and you put the pads on, and the AED does its own work from there. It's very easy to use, very simple, and it's very quick.
Being that you are a paramedic, how important is it to you that you now have this tool in your vehicle and you know what a difference time makes when it comes to survival?
Yes, and we're talking about for every minute. It's 10% of decrease in survival rate for the patient for every minute that they're down. So the quicker response time, the early CPR and the early defibrillation that we're able to give this patient in a sudden cardiac arrest, the better off they are, especially if they're in that ventricular fibrillation, that chaotic rhythm, and we're able to shock that with the electrical activity that'll help them survive the sudden cardiac arrest that they're experiencing.
Well, Officer Dan Freiberg, we thank you very much for being here today and explaining all of this to us.
Yes, thanks for having me.